Go.
Hello, Fight Insight fans, viewers, and listeners. I am your co-host, Braydbunch, aka the non-binary ninja, and with me, as always, your host, Timmy B. On today's episode, there are so many things to unpack. I hope we have enough time. We have a great guest ahead of her big Invicta debut, right? Invicta, I'm sorry. A Dana White update who's been all over the news, but I think some of us feel like certain things are being left out. A Jake Paul update, and so much more. Tim, hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fight Insight Podcast. Let's talk.
All right, our guest today is an undefeated amateur and a 1-0 professional MMA fighter born in Verona, British Columbia. I might be saying that wrong, but it's just north of Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, who was signed to Invicta FC last year and fights January 18th in her promotional debut. We're so excited to speak to her today. Get on the bandwagon now. This is the future star and a future champion. Everybody, please welcome to the podcast, Tanya Nijjar. Hello, Tanya.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. And you are currently in Austin, Texas right now.
I am. Yeah, I'm in Austin right now.
Awesome.
I love that city, by the way.
It's awesome here. I really like it. It's hot right now, so I'm enjoying it.
So
Yeah.
jealous.
If you feel like coming and shoveling snow,
Yeah.
please
I
come back.
missed the snow, actually. During Christmas, I really missed the snow. I was sad, but it was
Yeah.
cold here. It was freezing cold for a bit. But
What is freezing cold in Austin,
it was
Texas?
1 degree Celsius.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I was surprised for Austin. I didn't expect it, but it's warm now, so I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tanya, congratulations on being signed to Invicta. That's a huge deal.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Can I just say, yesterday or a couple days ago on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, they were talking about and arguing about the number 2 promotion, right?
Yeah.
And they were like Bellator, PFL, 1FC, and they were arguing. And I'm like, you guys are forgetting Invicta.
For
Invicta
women, it's like a really good feeder promotion to the UFC. Yeah.
it's incredible. It's a great promotion for women.
Yeah.
I would say probably a better feeder promotion than any of those other organizations.
For women, for sure, and the competition there is really good. They pick good fighters, so I really enjoy it. If you want to like go against top level competition,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
prepare yourself, yeah.
Tons of great fighters over there. Have you met or talked with Shannon Knapp yet?
I think I spoke with her just over email.
Okay.
But no, I haven't met her in person since I've been signed. I did meet her. My teammate fought on that their last card in the summer, I think. I can't remember the date now, but I met her then briefly, but I wasn't signed at that point. So
Nice.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but great things about Shannon, great things about the promotion. Their announcer is Joe Martinez, a good friend of the podcast.
awesome. Yeah. No, I'm really
That dude's the
looking forward to
best.
fighting for them. Yeah.
Yeah. When you win your fight and
Yes.
and Joe Martinez said, say Timmy B says hello from Fight Insight, because I love that guy.
I
He's the
will. I
greatest.
will for sure.
He's the
I'll
greatest.
remember. I'm
Yeah.
pretty zoned out after my fights, but I'll try to remember.
Sure. Well, just win quickly and then
Yeah,
you
I'll
can,
get it over with quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that said, for people that don't know you,
Mhm.
give us a brief little story. Who is Tanya?
Brief little story. Yeah. Well, I started MMA when I was like around 19 in Kelowna in Canada. So I've been training since then. I took a few amateur fights, did well. And then when I was supposed to go pro, I kind of had like a bad injury. So I had to take a step back from competition. But I was still training pretty consistently. And then now in the last year is when I kind of decided to make like my comeback to competition. And so I have to just kind of go hard for these next couple of years and get a good record going.
Yeah, kill it. Because
Yeah.
I did see, when I look at you on Tapology,
Yeah.
you have more canceled fights.
I have a lot of canceled fights on there. Every fight that they'd offer me, they'd like throw on Tapology, and I like right away I'd look and I'd be like, yeah, the only one, unfortunately, that I really wanted, like was supposed to take, and then I couldn't, was with Dakota Decheva. I hope I don't butcher her name. But I got COVID like 2 weeks before, and yeah, so they had to test us. So I unfortunately couldn't take that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I had a lot of cancellations going up to it. A lot of those were like opponents who didn't want to fight. Like that was a long time ago, and you know how it is. Like trying to get fights sometimes is hard. So yeah, there's a lot of almost fights on there.
Yeah, that's okay. But this starts you off on the path towards greatness now.
Yeah,
right?
like I want to be as active as I can this next year. I have 4 fights with Invicta, so if I can do all 4 this year, I'm hoping to do that. So yeah.
Nice, that's awesome. And you're fighting on January 18th, is that correct?
January 18th, yeah.
And
Wednesday.
18th.
Yeah.
For those in Canada, because we got to support our Canadian fighters.
Yes.
It's on YouTube still?
It's on
Invicta?
YouTube and Fight TV.
Yes.
It's no longer on Fight Pass, I don't think. So
I know. I'm a little bit upset with that because
know.
because when you would get your highlights, I have Fight Pass. I've been paying for Fight Pass.
I know everyone has Fight Pass, so I was kind of bummed, but
wait, what rich people do you live around? Because
not
one person
there's Fight Passes.
not one person I know has Fight Pass aside from me.
Really?
Yeah, nobody.
That's hilarious.
I'm literally
yeah,
funding.
I don't have my own. I just use. There's like 7 of us using the same account, so
all right.
you gotta do what you gotta do. It's like Netflix.
Someone's seeing this and coming to your house today.
Yeah,
Tanya, so you're in trouble. Here's a picture from your Instagram I wanted to share.
Okay.
Boom.
Oh yes.
You and the Venezuelan vixen. How did you meet Juliana Pena, and is she as cool as everybody tells us she is?
So, okay, that's the Roca facility where I train with New Wave, which is John Danaher's like jiu-jitsu team.
Nice.
And so she came to train there, and then I met her, and then we got to talking. I told her I had a fight coming up, and she wanted to help, so we did some MMA work, a little bit of sparring and stuff like that. She was just there for a few days. But yeah, she's so cool. I really like her. Super real, like very down to earth, and very, very helpful, like a very genuine person. So I was really happy to meet her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've had several of the fighters from the last season of Tough where she was a coach.
Yeah.
And Helen Peralta, who's fighting in Invicta, or she fought in LFA last, but Helen Peralta, Laura Gallardo, who's fighting on your card.
Yeah.
She was on team Juliana Pena, and they've all said she is fantastic, good people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's great. Like, my coach in Canada actually knows her, and he's always said really good things about her. But just like, she was there for like a few days. She doesn't even like know me. We just met, and she was just so invested in like giving me advice, and just like so helpful. Like, I really like her, so it was good.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You don't have to name names.
Okay.
Unless you want to.
Name names.
Have you ever met someone that was sort of the opposite, where you got super excited, like an idol or something, and you meet them and you're like, wow, that person sucks?
Kind of a dick. You know what? Kind of a dick. Actually, yes. When I first started at a UFC, I was like 20 years old. There is somebody I was a little disappointed in. He was, not so nice. Other than that, in MMA, not really, but I've met a couple actors that are kind of dicks when you meet them.
You know what? I've met a bunch of musicians that were like my idols, and just scum.
So disappointing, but then also I've met people where it like exceeded my expectations. So
it's usually the humble ones, or the you were describing Juliana as.
Like Juliana, yeah, for sure, she was great.
So because we're good friends now, Tanya, you gotta hook me up with Juliana Pena for an interview one day.
Oh, for sure. Let her know.
I cannot get to her. I've tried so hard.
Really?
No.
Honestly, I'm sure she'd do it. She's so nice.
Wait, you say that like we're so lowly that I'm sure she would pity you for the interview. Is that how that came across?
Busy lady. She's a world champ. Busy lady.
Yeah. No, she's the best. I'm gonna take a guess at the person that you met. And can I ask how old you are now?
I'm 28 now, so I'm getting.
Okay, 28. So when you're saying you met someone and it was 8 years ago, and you said someone
it was the first UFC. Okay, I'll give you some hints.
All right.
No, I've got it. I know it already.
So it was so long ago. It was the first UFC. Like, it was in Vancouver. And it was a guy.
I know it already.
A champion?
I've said this before.
A former champion.
I met this person, and I was super disappointed. Matt Hughes.
No.
Oh,
It better not be
I
GSP.
haven't even met Matt Hughes, but
GSP? No, not GSP.
no, GSP is so nice.
All right,
GSP comes down to Austin a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Can I just say I'm obsessed with GSP? And when he came, I hope he never sees this. I was like losing it inside, and everyone was so cool. They're like, "Oh, hey, George!" Like, I just was losing my mind. He was my favorite fighter. He was my favorite fighter ever. Yeah.
When was this? How long ago?
This was like a few months ago.
Wait, did he have the cool new blonde haircut?
Yeah,
Like
he's
bleach
just
blonde?
and he's so energetic, and like it's like a 20-year-old, but you know what I mean? You would never guess. Like he's still it seems like he's just as athletic. And yeah, he's just running around doing whatever. But no, I was starstruck for sure. But I tried to keep it cool. But it was probably obvious.
I'm highly betting you were not cool at that moment.
I was just like, I was trying to be cool. I was like, can we get a picture?
Wait, did you get a photo with him?
I did. I was really nervous. Like my teammate had to keep asking for me because I didn't want to be annoying.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious. No, you guys would have died. It was hilarious.
No, he's awesome. Who have you been training with for this fight? And when people watch Tanya Nijjar, what are we in for? Are we in for? All I've seen you do is choke a girl out at Combate.
Yes. Nobody has seen a lot of me though because I haven't gotten to fight pro very much. So they're gonna see for this fight. I think hopefully a lot more striking. I never really got to show any striking. But this girl's a big wrestler, so when she shoots, I'm hoping to kind of show my striking. But I'm comfortable like going anywhere with her with wrestling and grappling. So we'll see where the fight goes, right? So you can't force stuff, but hopefully more striking would be really nice.
May you pull off a Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren?
Oh, knee?
Just finish it.
Maybe. I hope. I'm looking for a head kick. But
nice.
We'll see. Yeah. Time it right.
And so who have you been training with? Aside from Juliana Pena, have you been training with any other big names?
Like all the big names, I guess, at like Roca, that do jiu-jitsu there, like they're always there. But I don't really train personally with them. But everyone on the team, they're at New Wave for my jiu-jitsu. I've been going to Ambush Muay Thai, it's called, in Austin, doing a lot of stand-up there.
Nice.
And then, yeah, my pad holders I've been working with. So I wouldn't say like I've been working personally with a lot of big names, but a lot of people have helped me.
You're the big name, Tanya. You're supposed to say, I'm the big name. Now, with when you say, what are you saying? Roca?
Sorry, that's just the facility that sponsors the New Wave Jiu-Jitsu team.
Is that the one that like Bisbing trains at it looks like RVCA? Is that it?
No, that's RVCA. Yeah, this is like they make like sunglasses.
Okay.
Sunglasses, so you can like keep on like during running and stuff like that.
Okay.
Prescription glasses, stuff like that. So they have like this facility.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Because Bisbing always calls his facility Ruka Sport.
I call it RVCA, but I think it's called. So this is Roca.
Okay. ROCA.
That's some people call it Ruka. I think I don't know if it's RVCA. I'm sounding so stupid right now.
That's okay. I'll edit this all out of the podcast. I'm not. Okay, but that's interesting, exciting. And where is the fight with Invicta this January 18th on YouTube?
So in Denver.
Okay.
They do it at the Real Works. It's like I think it's like a club that they converted or something like that. I'm not sure.
Wait, it's not the church, is it?
No, it's called Real Works. The church.
Okay. Did you ever see they did a card recently where they were like in like it really looked like it was an abandoned like church.
You know what?
That was
during in that place because it's kind of like it looks like a nightclub almost. I don't know. It's just like a big empty room, and then they like put the cage in the middle.
But is there going to be a crowd? Sorry, Brady.
There was a crowd. Yeah, there was like there's a lot of big names actually. There like Rose was there.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe she'll be there again. But it's more like an intimate like venue, I'd say. You know, some fights it's like more of like an intimate crowd where they're like right up close. It's like that. Sometimes you're like in a bigger like auditorium or something like that.
What do you prefer?
I don't really care, to be honest. Like some people, they like love to fight in front of people.
Yes. Like
if you just take me in like an empty room and to fight and get it done with, like I would prefer that.
All right.
I'm not like a feed off the crowd or anything. It just makes me like more nervous, maybe.
I get it.
So I'm cool with either. When I fought for Combate, they had it in a studio, which was really cool.
Yeah, that thing is empty, right?
Yeah, it
Combate?
was weird because it was dead silent. Because they have to edit like the commentary on top. So I got no walkout song, just dead silent. You can hear everything. But after I did it, I actually liked it better, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just because it feels like you're just going to like spar now, right? Like you're going to the gym.
Yeah. But still, the excitement of the crowd around, the energy.
Yeah. I mean, but if you're in like a big, like when I'm in a big show, like, you know, obviously the UFC crowd or something like that, that's going to be amazing.
Nice.
But, yeah.
And because I couldn't find any footage on you, when I did the promo video for you, I couldn't figure out what your walkout song is. Do you know what your walkout song is for Invicta?
I don't actually know yet.
No?
So I got to decide. I have a few favorites, but yeah.
All right. Is it going to be like West Canadian country?
It should be.
Just lull the crowd to sleep?
Or some Indian music or something.
Hey, that's not bad.
No, it'll be like some hip hop. I'm a big hip hop head. Yeah, so it'll be something like that.
All right, no, not bad. Then for the promo video, I chose some Missy
You
Elliott.
did, yeah. I noticed. I liked it.
That's not bad.
I really liked it, actually. Yeah. So.
I have some fan questions I want to get to.
Okay.
The regular that we always get for the females.
Yes.
Are you single, married? It comes in droves.
People actually ask that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, a lot do. Like these idiots.
Yeah.
I am actually, but I'm not looking.
Okay. All right. So that's a hard no to all you people out there looking.
I'm busy.
Training, I get it.
I like this question. At Blonde and Butte asked, "What happened to your Twitter?"
It's so funny that people like look at this stuff now, and I should probably like deal with my social media stuff. But like, I had actually a hilarious Twitter when I was like 18, 19.
All right, killing it back in the day.
It was hilarious. I had good jokes.
Self-admitted.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then I felt locked out or something. And then I don't have a Twitter now. Did they find my Twitter?
What's that?
Did they find my Twitter?
I guess.
Yeah. Well, I looked for it when the person sent the question. I was like, okay. Was it Slumdog MMA?
Oh yeah, that was it. That was what my coach used to call me.
That's awesome.
Oh. Now, okay, well then that leads into another question. I got this from a few people.
Yeah.
No nickname for Tanya.
Okay, so that's been my only nickname that my coach gave me, David Lee.
Okay.
In Canada, Toshido. And then that one was kind of my nickname when I started like fighting amateur. And then since then it's kind of died. I feel like if someone gives you a nickname, then I'll go with it. But yeah.
But I mean, someone gave you Slumdog. Are you gonna go with it, or is it?
I mean, I guess, but I feel like I've moved on from Slumdog.
Yeah.
Need something new. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can run a contest to name.
You could
if you want. But you're gonna get a lot of those pervs sending in.
You're gonna get a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Last fan question. Jetsinski asks, "What is something that people don't know about you?" I feel like all of this is stuff people don't know, but something exciting about you.
Something exciting? I'm not very exciting, you guys. I'm pretty lame. I'm a grandma. They don't know. Let's see. Oh, I opened a brewery, like a cidery.
Very Canadian of you.
Yeah, he's a farmer. He's an orchardist in Canada. So we opened that a few years ago. So yeah, we still have that going.
What's the brand?
It's called Tony's Craft Cidery. His name's Tony.
Yeah. Tony's Craft Cidery?
Yes.
And you deliver in Canada?
We wholesale. We're in a bunch of liquor stores now. So when I was injured, actually, like, I stopped fighting, and then like I started training again after a couple of years, but there was a point there where like I couldn't do anything. And I got pretty, I was really bummed. So I was still in school and stuff. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So then at that point we like opened the business. And now it's getting going. So yeah.
Is this, I'm sorry, can it be delivered? Like, can Americans order it?
Americans can't. We don't currently do in the US, but
I'll drive it across the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry.
The liquor laws are insane in Canada, so it's like.
Yeah, because Braydbunch is in New York.
Province.
Yes. So I'm dying to visit Canada. with all
Yeah.
the awesome guests we've had, and Timmy, you.
Yeah.
All the
so
awesome
nice.
stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. That's a very
Thank you.
cool thing. So
I
we
thought
got
that was a random thing people didn't know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, before we let you go, who is someone that you think that we should have on the podcast
Oh,
in the future?
a guest. You should have like a super
Oh.
famous person or like a
Well, like a fighter would be nice,
fighter.
you know.
Get
Someone's
my
in the-
teammate, get Maria. I'm gonna butcher her last name. You're gonna Sweet Maria MMA. That's all I'm gonna say. She's Serbian, and to this day I like butcher her last name, so I'm not even
All right.
gonna try.
And is she fighting soon? Is she fighting?
She signed with Invicta as well. She has
Nice.
3 more fights with them. Yeah, so she got signed before I did.
Alright.
I was hoping to get on the same card as her, but it didn't work out. So maybe
All
she'll
right.
be the next one. But yeah, you guys have to look her up. She's a killer.
Definitely. All right, Sweet Maria is going to be coming on the podcast.
Yeah, that's her Instagram.
Yeah, we will get her on the podcast. Tell her good things about us.
Yes.
And so people can see you next at Invicta fighting January 18th. Everybody's got to go watch Tanya Nijjar celebrate with some cider from Tony.
Yes, get a
right.
drink. Yeah,
Kill
if
it.
you're in BC, go get some.
Go get it.
Yeah.
And Tanya, before we let you go, is there anything that you'd like to say to the fans, viewers, and listeners of this podcast, fans, viewers, and listeners of yours?
Oh, just thanks so much for being interested and following me. Hopefully you keep fighting or watching my fight journey unfold. I really appreciate the support and that you guys are even interested in what I'm doing. So that's really cool.
And you know what? I hope you keep in touch because we would love to.
I will
have you back on. We'd love to see where you go.
Yeah, get me at the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It'll be an active year. So
I love that.
A lot going on.
Yeah, look, we just finished our award show for 2022. And hey, there's nothing to say that Tanya Nijjar can't go 4-0 in Invicta in one bloody year.
It's happening. That's the year. This is the year.
Kick ass.
Can I ask one question? It ties to this. Say you have an awesome year, 4-0.
Yeah.
You get 2 phone calls. One's from Dana White, if he still has his position, and one is from the head of the PFL. And they both offer you opportunities to jump to their orgs. Where would you go?
I think I'd go to the UFC.
All right.
I thought about it. Yeah, a lot of other promotions will pay well. Sorry if this is a drawn out answer, but they'll pay well. And they'll hype you up and everything. But I just want to fight the best fighters and test myself against the best fighters and win the most legitimate title. So that's where I'd want to go. I don't really care if you're offering more and then I get to fight kind of cans. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's for the glory.
So these new divisions, they kind of just set up the new fighters. So no, I go to the UFC for sure. That's my goal.
Tanya, you're gonna get there.
Yes.
I love your energy. I love your personality.
Thank you.
Your agent, thank you, Remington, for getting us in contact with you because you're a great person. Remington said you're a great person, great attitude, great personality. It really comes off here. So thank you so much for joining the podcast. This is episode 100.
Thank you.
So I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you so much, Tanya, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. What a great interview.
Yes.
Our 100th guest could not have been a better one. And this is what this podcast is all about, right? When we started this podcast, it was all about just having fun and meeting cool people. We didn't even think we'd have any guests. And then all of a sudden we started getting guests and UFC fighters and ONE FC fighters. And it was getting crazy, but I love going back to these young homegrown fighters. That's what I love. So very, very cool.
Yeah. And you know what? She has a story. I love the cidery. That was a good question.
Thank God.
And I'm hoping she does get a new awesome nickname this year.
Yeah. Maybe, you know what? Maybe she'll start finishing people. Well, let's see. She wanted a head kick, right? If she head kicks her next 2 people, then she's Tanya head kick Nijjar. That's terrible. But you know what I mean? Something will happen. Guys, I do want to say if you're here watching the podcast because of Tanya, thank you so much. Please follow and subscribe, do all that stuff. You see our things on the bottom there. Stick with us. Tons of great guests coming up next week on the podcast. UFC, another Canadian fighter, UFC's Kyle the Monster Nelson. He's fighting Superboy Doo-Ho Choi in February for the UFC. So that's going to be a great fight, but a greater interview because we get to meet him here. So that's very exciting for us.
Yes.
And friends of the podcast update. We always do this. So who have we met that is fighting soon? Raquel Pennington. She fights in the UFC this Saturday, the first card of 2023. Raquel Pennington. We love Team Rocky. She's fighting Ketlin Vieira. She fights on Saturday. Go back to Slim Reaper, Ray Rowland. He's fighting at UNF on January 28th. We've got on the same card as Tanya, we've got Laura Gallardo. She's fighting at Invicta. And also a girl that I really like that we were trying to get on the podcast. There was some translation issues. Lily Fajea. She's fighting at Invicta on that same card. Brady, I didn't even know you back then, but this is a girl that fought for another all-women's organization, Palace Athena Women's Fighting Championship in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Yeah.
She fights, and I think I still have the video. The girl she fights fouls her like 3 times, does this thing where she headbutts her in the face. The ref doesn't call it. Then she's clinching her, and the girl apparently like starts rubbing up against her ribs, like putting her knuckles into the ribs to like disengage kind of thing, but that's illegal. And then did all this crazy stuff, and then the fight gets called, and they say that Lily can't continue. And they give the title to the other girl, even though she fouled her way to the victory. Like, it was crazy.
That is crazy.
Oh, it's the worst.
Did she ever get like a rematch? Was it like
she petitioned it? She went to the commissions to try and get it overturned. Everything bombed out. I mean, the girl she was fighting was a homegrown Canadian girl, so I don't think she had a chance too much in getting that overturned. But anyways, so happy that Invicta picks her up and now gives her an opportunity because she was undefeated before that, so, but Invicta gives her the opportunity. So watch out for Lily Fajea, look out for Laura Gallardo, and of course, look out for Tanya Nijjar. That's our friends of the podcast update. And of course, I want to say thank you to RageWorksNetwork.com. That's where we are, New York Podcast Network. So we're part of that network. So go check them out. All right, Braydbunch. Several things that we got to talk about. You brought up the PFL, so why don't we go to that first, maybe? They're changing the name to Paul Fight League.
Oh, yeah, for a second, I thought you were being serious.
I don't know. They might as well. How much do you have to pay this guy to do what he's doing here?
I actually am going to say something else. I'm wondering how much he paid the PFL to do what he's doing.
No.
Sometimes I wonder, is he just a guy with a big bankroll and can pay his way?
No. You think he's paying the PFL to be?
You know what? Part of me wonders, when you got that much money, you can make stuff happen, right?
Jeez Louise.
Hey, PFL, I'm this rich kid, former, I think, Disney star, whatever, right? I'm now making all this money with this whatever, right? Hey.
That's insane that you say that. I love it.
You know what, though? He is clearly out there getting so much attention. I'm just saying that because I kind of hate on him. I think all right, I look at him 2 ways. He has helped the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
While hurting the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
It's like
he's a polarizing individual.
Yes, he's got people talking about boxing more than some people that would have never been watching or talking about it.
Yeah,
out there talking about it. Where I think it ruins it is you have a bunch of fanboys who he hasn't fought a single pro boxer yet, right?
Yeah, but that's okay because look at any boxer in the first 5 to 10 fights they fight people they think they can beat. If you're going to build yourself up, you got to fight.
Of course. I get it.
He's just doing it in the public eye. But what I will say is that like he's very polarizing. When you go on like famous Instagram accounts of like MMA and whatever, people get livid when you keep posting Jake Paul crap. People are like, get rid of this idiot, blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, mind you, that's engagement. So those pages are like, hey, I'll post all the Jake Paul shit I want because it gets you coming here and you're typing and pumping up my post. But he is like, it is a love-hate thing with him. So I did think when he signed on with PFL, I'm like, well, PFL, Jesus, you're like you wish you're number 2. You're probably number 3 or 4 at best.
Yep.
I think you go bankrupt in the year. I don't think PFL makes it. I don't like it. I feel like they're spending too much money. And then with this Jake Paul thing, how much money did you have to pay this guy? And how many fans are you going to lose by people going, PFL, what a joke. They're the guys that signed Jake Paul, right? That's what I think.
See, but you know what?
Like they're turning into like are they going to turn into like an influencer league? Like that's kind of.
Well, this is what confuses me. It sounds like they're developing a special division, right? Just for people like Jake.
Yeah, the super fight pay-per-view division or some weird thing. Yeah.
So like right there and then I'm like, oh, is the rumor of him giving contracts with NDAs that here's an NDA, you're going to look at this contract and you can't talk about it. And then it says you can't knock me out. And then someone like Nate Diaz can't go around and share that information after looking at the contract, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's all BS. I think he's an athlete, but I think half of his fights have completely been fake. That's my honest opinion. Glorified sparring, right?
Yeah.
Where they sell him to make him into a story, make him marketable. But the thing that irritated me most is the headline I read this morning was like Jake Paul basically acting like he's upset that this announcement that him joining the PFL, it's the end of his boxing career. That he's not allowed to box anymore. It was something like that was the article.
Wait, well, he should have known that if he signed the agreement.
Well, my point is he didn't know that. And when he knew was, hey, I'm about to have to fight real people eventually who are going to show the world that I am, yes, an athlete, but I don't stand anywhere to the top level of boxing, right? And that's it. It's just phony, right? Like he's out there literally. I'm sorry, that whole Anderson Silva fight was like the final straw for me. Anderson could have finished him so many times, right?
I mean, we can argue it all we want. What I will say is that I was surprised. We showed the growth of the MMA leagues of their social media in 2022. We showed that graphic last week. PFL went from 483,000 to 539,000. So they grew by 56,000.
Mm-hmm.
I think they grew a little bit more after that. But what I was trying to figure out was how much did they grow after the Jake Paul announcement?
I'm about to look right now. Did you?
It was not a lot.
So that's what I mean in the sense that
they're at. Oh, and just to finish the sentence, they're at 574. So even at best, and I don't think it was, they grew about 30,000 since the Jake Paul announcement, which is not a lot when he's got millions of followers. So those millions of followers essentially don't care and aren't going to go follow PFL. So PFL, if you paid money to get this guy, your social media has not grown. And that was massive publicity he gave you.
See, you know what it is though? This is part of the curse of being an influencer. As someone who makes music, does all my silly stuff.
Not whatever, but okay.
But I know this, right? Like, or let's go back to Jake. He's known for so many things. Half the people following him are haters. Half the people following him are just keeping an eye on what's going on. So few of the people are actually fight fans. And that's where it's like, it doesn't convert, right? So many also frustrates me. I know that like my closest friends and family, if I were to share something in my story, they just watch it, don't react. I can literally be begging like for some.
Click on this, please. Yeah. No, hey, don't even get me started. I post polls on my stories on Instagram.
Yes.
I have to go to my best friends and go, can you please fucking vote, man? Like, do you understand how that helps me when every vote like gets it sent out? Yeah. When I started this podcast, the one lesson I learned, and I've talked about this when I've been guests on other podcasts, and I talk about my experience of growing this podcast, you cannot trust the people that you're friends with, your family, like they do not support you. And if anything, the people closest to you want to see you fail.
Isn't it crazy?
It really is. So, I mean, it is hard to grow a product. It's hard to do anything because you think that you're going to get a bunch of support and you do not. And it's not because I'm a total asshole. Like it's just that's what it is. Like you said, like you I can post stuff and my closest friends and family won't click on it. So yeah, you're right, Jake Paul. But okay, we won't go on too long about this. But holy crap, I feel that that's a crazy move. I don't think it's a good move. I feel like PFL is watering down their own product. And I will say, I saw Hurricane Shane Burgos, that awesome UFC fighter, crazy dude, love him. He got into some weird contract thing with the UFC. Dana White even came out and said, we screwed this up because somehow they didn't like re-sign him properly. And then he went to PFL.
Interesting.
He's posting, I want to fight Jake Paul.
In the PFL?
Dude, yeah. Can you not, Shane Burgos, focus on your goddamn career in PFL? Why would you want to fight Jake Paul?
Because it makes me wonder two things. One is, does he want to be that superstar that maybe somehow finally takes out the Jake Paul train? Or does he know that that paycheck is going to be bigger than any paycheck he could get in the UFC, fighting with the UFC for maybe years? And for some
who cares? Who cares? Why would you risk it?
You know what?
The other thing is you risk it. You go out there and he accidentally knocks you out.
Yes, kind of like what's his face? Woodley, right? Like Woodley has lost so much respect in people's eyes.
Yeah, you're top of the game, man. Shane Burgos, top level fighter. I mean, had he stayed in UFC, sky's the limit for that dude. You went to PFL, okay, fine. But you're gonna fight Jake Paul? No way. Please do not do that.
Who do you think should fight Jake Paul in the PFL if you had to pick an opponent, like from anywhere?
CM Punk.
I've heard that rumor.
Sign CM Punk, get CM Punk over there. He's still doing commentary for he did the commentary for the Fury grappling that or was it Fury grappling? Whatever it was, the grappling event with Rose and Jillian Robertson.
Yeah, I think it was.
He was the commentator. He's good. I mean, he's good on the mic. He's a good guy. He doesn't, I don't know how much he's training or whatever. I think he is. Get him to go fight Jake Paul in MMA.
See, but you know what? I guess you're right. It kind of makes more sense, but like he doesn't have a record to impress, right? I feel like Jake knows as a marketer, as someone who needs to sell snake oil, he needs to take out someone of a certain status, right?
Yeah. So well, like, he's not. Yeah, but he's not going to do it on day one. Anyways, I don't know. Interesting. We'll see what happens. But god dang, it was a weird move. And people were saying, why didn't Bellator sign him? Why didn't ONE FC sign him? Give me a break. I feel like those organizations like Scott Coker, Shatri, they knew this was not a move if you want to legitimize your brand.
Yep. They take it serious enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
PFL looks, I agree. They look silly making this move. Or who knows? Maybe we're going to be eating our words in the air.
Maybe. Probably.
Hey, guess what? If the PFL wants to sign someone like me eventually, you will hear me shut up, right?
PFL is the greatest.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, and if PFL wants to sponsor this podcast, I'm for sale. I will praise the glory of the smart cage and all that garbage. I will praise it to no end. If the money is there, I'll do it. But I don't know.
Have you heard the rumor about what's his face? His contract is supposedly up. He's a free agent now.
Ngannou? Francis?
Yes.
Yeah, because
he might be headed there.
Who's he going to fight? Who's the heavyweight champion of PFL? I'll give you $1 billion if you can tell me right now.
I have no idea.
Of course not. Nobody knows. It's nonsense. What Ngannou's going to go there and fight literally cans over there? Give me a break.
But did you see the picture of? I think it's his grandma.
Someone, yeah, there was an elderly lady at a barbecue with him, and she's wearing a PFL shirt of all shirts to wear.
Yes, but that's, to me, I don't know. We'll see. Coincidence or like purposeful?
Of course, it's purposeful. How every other lady there was like nicely dressed, and then there's this one random lady with a PFL T-shirt on. It's so stupid.
What do you think, though? Do you think that's his way of being like, you got to pay me, UFC, right? Like,
I don't know. Nobody cares. No one's going to care if you go to PFL, Francis Ngannou. Like, he's either got to go box and do something exciting, or even go to ONE FC. Go to ONE FC and fight some heavyweights.
I'm just mad that he's holding the belt up.
You're mad that he was?
Yes. Like, he needs to, my opinion, I like Tanya.
Yeah.
And then who else were we talking about earlier? I'm sorry, brain fart.
Sarah.
Moment. No, where they don't care about money. They just want to fight the best of the best.
Oh,
Right.
right. Yep.
And how long has it been since he's fought now?
Whatever. Yeah, but fine. But hey, you've attained that title. You can hold that title for the rest of your life if you want. It's no different than Masvidal holding a BMF title. Hold whatever you want. It's just whatever. But anyways, okay. PFL, let's see what happens with them. Maybe this will be a PFL podcast one day. I posted this on our Instagram. What are they saying? And again, if you're on audio, come on over to if you're on audio only, come on over to the visual podcast on YouTube or Spotify. I posted, what are they saying? Because Brady, if we start talking about Dana White now, last week, it was right when the story broke. We talked about it. I predicted he gets fired. You predicted nothing's going to happen to him. Our guest, Sarah Ferrugia, predicted that he would at least get suspended / that he would be fired or let go, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
A week has gone by. Dead silence. Literally nobody talking about it.
Yep.
Every single podcast that I put up there, aside from Ariel Helwani, who hates Dana anyway, so it almost doesn't count. Michael Bisping's podcast, I don't think says a word. Chael Sonnen, I don't think has released a statement. Anakin Florian podcast, nothing. Big John McCarthy, who talks about UFC all the time, nothing. Daniel Cormier posts the weirdest statement, which essentially says, I heard something, or I know some things went on, but I'm not going to talk about it. Like, you talk about everything. Here's a picture of DC making sure that he comments on his YouTube channel about Dylan Dennis pulling out of his fight. Like, dude, you talk about everything. That's your job. Like, you're a media personality.
See, it makes me wonder though. I don't know. It's just, I'm thinking of like, I've had friends work for companies.
A gag order?
Yes. And they're like gag orders or like, all that stuff, non-compete clauses, right? So is it like, hey, if you're a commentator because I'm trying to think, has any, yes, like an actual commentator role is different than being an athlete.
Right.
You know?
So the only athlete that has come out to say anything, the only UFC athlete to come out and say anything negative, do you know who it is?
It was Chandler, right?
No.
Or it was Poirier?
It's Poirier, yeah.
All right.
So Dustin Poirier said, you should never put hands on a woman. I don't know the repercussions to come along with somebody of his stature running these businesses and doing something like that. I have no clue. It's not a good look for sure. That's not even that condemning, but at least he comes out and says something. Everybody else, dead silent, or as unscientific as this may be, 80% of people online saying it's okay to hit a woman if she hits you first. Here's a tweet from Jamal Hill. This has turned a lot of people from him, I think.
I know. Yes.
His tweet says, if you don't want to get hit, don't hit nobody, period. Somebody replies, that's his wife, and he should have acted like a real man. This is a disappointing take. And Jamal replies, she should have acted like a real woman with respect and class.
Oh, what is this, the 1600s, right? Like,
and that is, I mean, he's going hard in the paint constantly, and so are a bunch of people, fighters and non. That is the big take on this. There is nobody coming out really condemning it. Like we talked about last week on the podcast, there are female fighters who have been victims of domestic abuse, stuff like that. Now, the argument that people are going to say is that this isn't domestic abuse because she hit him first, and so it's not the same, blah, blah. But there's girls that are going to be in awkward positions. I said it on the podcast last week, and I will say it again. I don't think the first time you hit someone, it's in public. So to say that was the first ever hit, as both Dana and his wife sent out statements saying this is the first time. Sorry, I don't, I'm going to respectfully not believe that. And so you don't know what happens behind closed doors. There's been nothing. Are you surprised that nobody has been saying anything?
You know what? I'm very surprised. You know what? I'm more disappointed in the people that have come out and shared their thoughts in disgusting ways than those who at least kept their mouths shut. because part of me thinks that those other people sort of, a lot of them probably know it's wrong, but they're just trying to stay out of the business politics and the politics of the world. But it's disgusting considering there's little kids at home on social media looking up to these athletes,
Yes,
right?
that's Brady, but that's my thing. I've refrained from responding to a bunch of people because I mean it's all over. If you look, it's all over. I responded to one guy when he like just a random person, but he wrote something again saying, if a woman hits first, it's okay to hit back. And his avatar was him and his wife in the photo. And I just thought it was so funny that you'd be putting something like that, because a lot of the people they're posting, like, you don't know who they are, or it's like some young dude or whatever. But this was like a family man with his wife. And so I tweeted back, I said, just make sure you tell your wife that that's the rule you guys are going by. And then he wrote back something like, she knows that's the rule. I'm like, really? I really highly doubt she knows that you think if she ever hits him, he's going to smack you back.
And you know what?
Crazy.
But did you hear about Dana White's mom?
Yes.
And that that real
Did
quick.
you watch that?
Yes, and that shows you. That was from 2011. It got no press, right?
Yeah.
That shows you
She wrote a book that I've never heard of. And sorry, just before you go on, Dana White's mother was on an interview. You can find it on YouTube. Go search it up. She literally is saying a whole bunch of shit about Dana. I do have a bit of a problem with it. I think it's very horrible that your mother would come out and do that. Like, I don't know, like it wasn't even in response to anything. I don't know what that is, but okay, go ahead.
Well, so I'm mixed about that, right? Because I think of the Trump family, not to get political, but he had that one sibling talking all the smack about him, revealing secrets, and then the others supporting. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me is she basically made it sound like there's been a long history of domestic violence with that couple.
Yeah.
She described her son basically as being an animal, a pig. And did you see the part that she claims he slept with his sister-in-law?
Oh, I thought, okay, to be fair, I thought the interview was kind of scuzzy because at one point she's like, I know he's sleeping with all the ring girls and stuff like that. It's like, how would you know? Like, you're his mother. Why do you know this? It's so stupid. Like, it seemed like character assassination at some point from her.
When someone jumps to basically, I think she mentioned where, when, and the date, like basically stated and was like, he's even slept with his own sister-in-law. Like, who does? And once that's where it was just like, how did this not get attention at all? Like,
so now that's being drudged up. I've been keeping track. Okay, so I put the post, and if you're listening to this on my Instagram, go to that post that says, what are they saying? And if you hear anybody saying anything, put it in there, because I'm trying to figure out where people are saying stuff. I'm more surprised that nobody has not said anything, but I want to hear what people say. Sean O'Malley on his podcast posted, and I'm going to read this out. I feel bad for Dana. His wife slapped him. That is rude, and it deserves a slapping back. I don't think sober he would have done that. No, I would assume sober, no drinks. She slaps him. I don't think his initial reaction is to slap back. When that alcohol's flowing, I've never hit a girl, but I've been blacked out and I've done some things that I can't believe I've done. I went back and listened to this podcast so I could try and get the verbal, like the how was he saying it? Was he saying it in a joking manner? Was he smiling while he was saying it? It was freaking hard for me to figure out. I don't know if he's serious or not. He had a co-host with him in person with him, and that person definitely was taken aback and was not of a positive response. But I mean, and that's the thing too. Don't read tweets or texts and assume that you know if it's something long and drawn out. Like, you got to go and listen to the source. If someone's going to quote a podcast, go and listen to it so you can at least hear it in the full context.
It should be illegal to take sound bites, but I agree with you on that.
Unless you want to take a fight and sight sound bite, fucking do it. Send it everywhere.
But you're right. And you know what? That's what I've heard from people too. They can't decide where O'Malley stood.
No, it was really hard, and I do encourage you to look at it. I did post where it was and all that, but anyways, So I've been following the news to try and see who says anything, and I will say, very interesting. What people are saying is that because there's no media attention to this, that's why this is really going under the radar. Slap fighting gets delayed 1 week. It's still going.
So I thought it got canceled. They're just
No, last week we reported, oh, it's been removed off the TBS schedule. No, they moved it 1 week later. He's going to be going out on Friday. He did his Fuck It Friday video on his Instagram, ate bologna pie. Like, I'm like, what the frick? I can't believe it. No media attention. Nobody saying anything. Perhaps a gag order that you said, Braydbunch. Here we go. There's an article in theatlantic.com. I don't know what this is, but this is something. Theatlantic.com. There's an article written today or yesterday by Jamel Hill, not Jamal Hill. Jamel Hill. And this person interestingly writes that they have some sort of contact with an ESPN person. And they're saying that, and I'm quoting this from the article, the ESPN writer and editor Jeff Wagenheim essentially confirmed my observation that the network is intentionally going easy on White. Wagenheim tweeted, "We've been told to not write anything incendiary on social media about the Dana White situation, and I understand why and have abided by that."
That's crazy.
He essentially says that. Then he does a follow-up tweet to clarify, and he says, clarification, this is in quotes, clarification, there was no edict from ESPN bosses regarding the White situation, but in general, we are strongly discouraged from incendiary posts on social media. I don't know how to say that word, but it's like the fire thing, right? Incendiary posts on social media, and with a business partner, things are sensitive. My bad on the wording. Okay, so here we go. The Atlantic has now written this. Now we're going, oh shit, maybe there is something. Then, very exciting, not exciting, but for me as I'm reading this and doing research on this, because I feel like, aside from Ariel Helwani, I really feel like I'm the only guy saying this, like on a podcast, because I haven't seen anybody else.
Yes.
And if you do know of any other podcast, a small podcast like us, just let me know, because I'd love to partner up with a podcast and go, yeah, cool. Okay, now very exciting, Brady. Did you know, and this is Brett Okamoto reports this, who is, big time ESPN staff writer. He's the cool looking dude, right? Who has a good in with everybody. Yep. He releases an article on ESPN, and because this is public, so I guess they had to. California Legislative Women's Caucus calls for the removal of Dana White as UFC president. So they have written this Legislative Women's Caucus, writes a letter to the CEO of Endeavor, which is the company that owns UFC. You may hear WME, which is a division of Endeavor, blah, blah, blah. But this is the organization. They write a public letter, which you can find online. I'll show a picture of it here. Not that you'll read it, but there it is. There's the picture. It's a real thing. Writing. The website consists of 18 state senators and 33 assemblywomen. They write asking for the, quote, the immediate removal of Mr. White as president of the UFC, end quote.
Which day was this that they did this?
When did they do this? Like yesterday? 10:40. This was 10:40 p.m. Eastern, I think yesterday. So yesterday, today, we're recording this on the Tuesday. So here we go. Maybe now a few more things start to come out, and you can't avoid it now. Because what happens, Braydbunch, as you know, once one news place posts something, everyone just does the same shit, right? That's
yes. Except I've without going too far into this, it's a known fact in the music industry, certain people with the bigger bankrolls, pay the blogs to post all about them. They control the narrative. And B, pay other blogs to prevent those other stories from coming out. Yeah,
no doubt.
Dana has so much money. The UFC has so much money. I feel like he'll be fine.
Yes, but the problem is, so there was nothing, like since the week we last did our podcast till literally yesterday, there was really nothing. And I was so surprised, and I'm going online and getting angry. that there's nothing. Now, there were a few famous people like D.L. Hewley, Jamie Foxx. They were tweeting a few things. So there has been a bit, but nothing really. When this California Women's Caucus letter comes out and ESPN posts about it, New York Post posts about it, Dog posts about it, Post Wrestling posts about it, MMA Fighting.
Yes, you're right.
Medialite, Sporting News, MMA Mania, MMA Junkie, of course, Yahoo Sports, The Atlantic. Boom. Now the floodgates open on this one thing. So my prediction that he gets fired, I still feel there's a possibility that things go bad because as things start to churn. And I don't want things to go bad per se. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I want everyone to be happy and make money and be happy and do what they want in life. But in some things, there are things that maybe call for some response or some action, or right?
See, you know what surprises me? I feel like they should at least suspend him for some significant amount of time. That's where I think they're making a mistake. Know who I'm going to make a comparison to? I feel like we occasionally heard some really bad things about someone like Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It took until like the very end where he was probably wanted to retire anyway for scandal to come out and for him to step down, right?
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen. Like, I don't want anything bad. I don't want him to step down forever, but I feel I think Ariel Helwani, again, to piggyback off him, but I do feel like him and I are very in sync with one another. Even though I did not like this dude. I did not like Ariel a lot before, but I feel like over time I've really kind of come to understand him a bit more.
Yes.
He was even saying like, just say something like the organization should put out statements like we do not support this and blah blah blah, or okay, he's going to undergo couples counseling, or like do a little bit more to make it look like to both you, to your fighters, or to the public that yes, we do take this seriously, and whatever you do behind the scenes, fine. But at least put out a little bit more of a statement to make people think that this is not okay. And again, because there are UFC fighters that have gone through domestic violence, it's not cool. Like,
not cool at all. And can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So some of the feedback I've heard from people and looking online and talking with people, they claim that like this whole Dana White thing, it's Americans. I've heard that people outside of America, in Europe and whatnot, are disgusted. In fact, I saw a bunch of them making fun of the Americans on a popular MMA page, basically saying, you guys are disgusting. You're obsessed with guns. And I guess you all enjoy beating women, right?
Yeah.
Is it an American issue? Like, are your Canadian friends feeling like Dana had
I will say, without calling people out, I will say I was surprised at the immediate reaction that I was getting from some people. I think I spoke to one guy who I really like and I respect a lot, and I brought it up to him, and we're normally, in sync on things.
Yeah.
He right away said, "No, dude, you just, if anything, you would use yourself to restrain from anymore. Like, why would you ever hit? Like, you just restrain. Like, if you're going to use your strength or your position or anything, just restrain. Like, why would you ever hit back?" So I don't know. I think it's just the social media brings out the worst in people. And I think it's very easy and clickbaity to put ruder stuff out there. But, you think about why we're saying it's important for a whole bunch of fighters to come out and say, hey, I'm against this and blah, blah, because it will start a snowball too. Like if a whole bunch of people said, hey, that's not cool, even if like Dustin Poirier's statement is not bad at all. And I don't think Dustin Poirier gets in trouble for what he says. Yeah. But just if you say like, hey, putting your hands on a woman is never okay, blah, 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 anything like that. If a snowball of those comments came about, don't call for his firing, don't call for whatever, but just support people that could be in difficult situations. That's a lot better snowball than what we've got going on now.
And you know what? I think the UFC should do something like start a domestic violence campaign, donate money to some great organizations that focus on this type of stuff. That changes everything. The fact that they're not talking about that already, it makes me wonder who's making the decisions up there? It's a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, it won't make everything go away, but it does make everything go better. I think of some of those companies that were tied to the Nazis. Yes, they're not forgiven, but a lot of them ended up taking large amount of monies and doing good things with it to try to fix the damage. I look at it like restorative justice, which I don't know if everyone knows about. I actually went through a grad school program for it. I really believe in it. But when someone causes harm, right, they need to be held accountable. But we don't kick people out, kind of like what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Whoever was harmed might have to be part of what goes on, right? But we're all community, right? And we got to act like it. And at the end of the day, what needs to happen is when someone does something wrong, they need to restore what was done in some way. This right now, I'm sure there's some, know what I wonder about? There probably are some female UFC fighters who have gone through hell from a man, right? We know that Ronda, supposedly, I think you remember those stories, right?
Okay. Yep.
And others, right? Just, I can only imagine some of them probably are so triggered. It's probably bringing back some past feelings of what they've been through, and they can't say a thing. And that's where I think the UFC, it's not so much about Dana at this point.
Yeah. Not at all. Yeah.
It's more like, yo, organization, what are you guys doing? You got to do, it's got to be at least covered or spoken about. It can't be, you can't be the ostrich and stick your head under the ground and act like none of this happened.
Yeah. But it is, I can understand why people stick their head in the ground and avoid it when the mass response is in supporting what he did. When he's not even really out there, like he's essentially just gone on with his life. He's going out gambling and posting Fuck It Friday videos and Slap League starts in a couple of weeks. Like, it's not even like he's out there going, I didn't do anything wrong and there was alcohol and blood. Like, he's not even saying anything, but the public is just crazy. So look, last week when this came out, I was in such a bad mood. Not bad mood, but I was like, oh, this is good discussion that we're going to have, like what we're having now. But Sarah Ferrugia put me in such a good mood.
I get it.
That we weren't able to kind of have this discussion. Now, today, I was like pumped. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to let Tanya Nijjar divert me from this conversation. So as amazing as Tanya Nijjar was, I still appreciate this conversation that we're having. Because
needed to vent.
Yeah, not vent, but I just feel like it's important to say it out there. Like people don't realize, and I think for the people that are taking sound bites or clips and looking at little things, you got to go back to the full source and read things, and hear the whole thing.
Can I share with you one of my fears?
Yeah,
this is it's a silly fear, but also part of it's real. I'm going to name it. I know how industries can work, like the music industry. It's easy for people to get blacklisted, right?
Yep.
You make enemies. So part of me was a little nervous. Do I speak my real opinion anymore? Right? It's already out there, kind of memorialized. Here we are again. And as you know, I'm sorry, someone in Dana White's family recently followed my account. And part of me is afraid that they're going to see this. And I wonder how they're going to take it. Right? And also part of me wonders if someone like Dana saw this. Who knows what I've seen Dana at times really go to burn people to the ground. Right? And
Ariel Helwani says that a lot.
Yes. To the point where some guy, I'm not sure if you saw this, Dana posted some guy like a month or so ago and was like, does anyone know this guy? Tell me everything you know about him. And I went to that guy's page and literally you should have seen it. The guy gained all these followers overnight, like because everyone was checking out. Guy was clearly going through a mental breakdown. It looked like he lost custody of his kid. And I think he posted one of Dana's kids, like some weird, cryptic, creepy message. So yes, I understand why Dana should be alarmed, but also Dana was basically like, tell me everything you know about this guy. He's got something coming, right? You want to find out, you're going to find out. To me, it was like, all right, here's Dana, this mobster.
Like the hit list is out.
Using his power and seeing everyone follow. And what stood out to me was all the UFC fans, right? Leaving comments on all the older posts on this guy, just like trolling him and stuff. And that's part of the problem is the UFC has some of the most rabid fans on the planet.
Yep.
Right? Most of them can't fight, by the way, which makes this even more ridiculous, right? They just watch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
and,
sorry, go ahead.
and my last point, the thing that makes me the most insane about all these people, and some of it comes from people that do fight, and that's where I'm like, kind of like what your friend said. I liked his answer because I said the same thing. When people literally sit there and tell me he was using self-defense,
Yep.
like literally, there are people out there posting as if Dana White was in danger,
Yep.
right? His wife is this little thing, right? Like, come on.
Mhm.
Though I will say, did you hear the one part in what his mother said about the fight, the earlier fight?
No.
Supposedly Dana almost lost his eye. So she actually
Oh.
said some incident happened, and the wife supposedly did hit Dana back then. Maybe his wedding night even, or I don't know, it was some important event, and had the worst black eye ever. He almost lost it.
Oh, I remember that, but okay, I didn't catch that she said almost lost the eye. I remember worst black eye ever. Yeah.
All right, who knows? But part of me did for a second go, you know what? She might have a little more power in those fists than we realize, but still, it's unacceptable, right? It's
Yeah.
unacceptable. She's a woman. And come on, the same people, like I said, that don't want people like me fighting cisgender women because there's an edge, right?
In a mutually agreeable combat, mind
In a
you.
mutual agreeable combat, where, by the way, hormone levels are pretty matched, but I'm not going to get into it. And as you know,
Yeah.
other trans and male opponents, right? But like those same people are the same people saying that Dana White used self-defense, right?
Yeah. I think the one tweet I gave back to someone before I realized that was the massive response was I said, was he in danger of his life or was just his pride in danger? Like, what were you defending yourself from? Right? Like, what was the imminent danger you had there? But anyways, we could go on forever about this. We're at the end of time. The importance is that we're talking about it, that we're talking about it openly and honestly. Look, this is episode 100. I had kind of made the commitment in my brain that I was going to get to episode 101 and then end this thing. But I've had a little bit of a resurgence. I've been really happy with you as my co-host for the last while. We've been having good guests,
Yes.
right? Like, holy crap, I could do 100 more podcasts with Sarah Ferrugia and Tanya Nijjar, right? Like, great people we've been meeting. Next week's going to be fun with Kyle Nelson. Kyle the Monster Nelson. So I'm very excited, and we'll keep going. But look, if somehow like we get targeted and the podcast dies, it's been a good run. What are we going to do? But
you know what? Good thing we're both trained martial artists.
yeah. I think I see someone in my shrubs right now. No, nothing's ever going to come about it. It's just, and look, it's something to discuss. And I do feel there's a lot more people that probably do have the same thoughts as us here or Ariel Helwani. And not so much of what you see online. But look, stay positive, stay respectful. I posted on my Twitter yesterday in the last few days. I felt like it was important to, not that anyone follows me, but to post some things that are more positive or whatever. But I just said, like, hey, as a martial artist, you're taught to stand up for what is right, to help others, and to stand your ground. Believe in that, right? We're martial artists, so that it's all about honor and respect. Yep. I also posted, I said, I hold the door open for my wife, women, children, elderly, etc. Pretty much anybody I hold the door open for. It's just good manners. It has nothing to do with equality. Yep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're holding the door, it's just about being a good person. Be a good person in life. I think that's the important message here. Braydbunch, before we go, you got anything to say?
You know what? Some silly quick stuff. I'm going to plug my fight. I'm fighting March 11th, Atlantic City. I'm taking on Layla James, trans wrestler. As of right now, my weight is way down. Right? I'm trying to decide, do I bulk back up? Or can I take her at a lighter weight? I don't know. But more importantly, that's just a warm-up, because I'm hoping to take on a kickboxing opponent in May. I'm speaking with another organization. And there was also a trans woman guest that was on this same podcast at one point. And part of me is hungrier than ever to meet them in the cage. And I'm hoping that might happen by the end of the year. So we will see. But otherwise, I love being here. I hope we have at least another 100 podcast episodes. And
book it.
I'm going to try my best to get someone like steamroller for Vola to come on.
Yes.
But like, I can't thank you enough, Timmy B. And I can't thank
Thank
the
you.
viewers and the awesome guests that keep coming.
Yeah. And to that person that you're saying that you might fight that was a guest on this podcast, to put it on record, I do like both of you.
I know that.
I would hate to see two of my friends fight one another, but hey, if it's for money and it's for, and it's for the greater good, then go for it. But I do like you both. Just as, I don't want to say anything bad, but all right, guys, next week, stick with us, going back to the UFC for one of their great young fighters. And we'll see you next week. Be good to each other. Braydbunch, thank you so much as always.
Thank you.
See you later.